composite video. So here is the composite that was requested that I repeat. I don't know why there's this black box showing on her head, but we have a baby on a beanbag because safety is always first. And then we have just a regular swing. So that I want to put this baby into this swing picture is the goal. So I've opened my 2 photos. There's my swing and there's my baby. So like I said, I want to put the baby into the swing picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here, and if I right click on this icon, I can get the quick selection tool. And when I have really detailed corners and things in my composites, I like to use the quick selection tool because it's a little more precise than just my marquee tool. If I'm doing a composite that doesn't have a lot of corners or edges or details, I literally will just use my marquee tool for it. But for things that are a little more precise, I like to use the quick selection. So you'll see up here, once you click quick selection, you'll see these brushes here. And there's this regular brush, there's a plus, and there's a minus. Basically, it's saying I want to add or subtract when I click on this tool. So we'll kind of show you what that means. So we're going to click the plus first because I want to grab sections of this photo. So if I just click and drag my mouse, it automatically goes to where it thinks the edge of the image is. And you can let go of the click, whenever you want, but just when you're trying to get around the baby, click and drag. So I'm going to click and drag just real quickly here. This is just a real rough area. So you can see, I want to get her hair thing. You see I've got a rough area here, right? But I'd really like to refine that because I don't want to have to do all that in the masking on the other side. So I'm going to click minus, and I'm going to go into these areas that I don't want to have, and I'm going to, when I click on the minus, like I don't need to bring the flowers because they're in the other photo. I just really want her arm. When I click minus, you'll see it takes away some of the marching ants, as they're called. So I'm just going to go and take away, get this fairly close, right? Because I can do some of this in masking, but I want to get it fairly close so I have as little to mask as possible. Okay. So now you can see I've pretty much selected the baby here, right? So I've got pretty close. I'm pretty happy with my selection. Oh, hold on. I got a plus because I'm missing a little toe here. I don't want to miss her toes. I want to make sure I get every important part of her in here. Okay. So now that I'm happy with my selection, I'll click on my just little pointer tool, and I'll click and drag her into where I want her. And you'll see it automatically creates a new layer for her, which is awesome. But you'll also see she's really big for this swing, okay? When you do a composite, it's really important before you start resizing things to make this a smart layer. So if I go to layers, smart object, sorry. Layer, smart object, convert to smart object. Basically what that does is when you're messing with the size of something, it won't damage your actual photo. So sometimes when you resize, things can get skewed or pixels kind of get out of whack. I don't know if you've ever noticed something, if you resize something really small and then your pixels seem really odd, but this will stop that from happening. So it's really important to do a smart layer. And then the next thing I do, I want to make her smaller, so I'm going to do Control or Command T, which will bring up this transform tool. And when you're transforming, see how she can move all random and I can make her squishy? We don't want to do that. So when I transform something, I want to hold the Shift key while I move it because that keeps everything in proportion. So I'm just going to hold the Shift key and make her a little smaller. And it's one thing you can do is kind of try and match up the flowers a little bit to see if she fits kind of where you want her to be. So we're going to do just about like that. So I like that. So when I'm done, I'm going to hit Enter. And you can see, for the most part, it looks pretty clean. We're just going to mask off some of these edges. So I'm going to add a mask to this layer. And then my mask is white, so I'm going to select a black brush. Normally, when I'm doing anything in Photoshop, I use a really soft brush, and that's so I don't get hard edges. But in this particular area, like if I use a soft brush, I'm never going to be able to get in between her toes here or here without getting some of her skin too. So I want to use a pretty hard brush for this masking. So I'm literally just going to come in and mask off this extra bit here. And this is kind of a tedious part. It's kind of annoying, but It's much better if you have a tablet. I'm just using my mouse right now, but this is what what a tablet's good for. So basically what this is doing is hiding my layer that I put over her and revealing the background layer, which is what I want to do, because I just want her and I want the background to be how it always was. So I'm just going to do real quick. You would get in here with your thing and do, you know, a lot more particular than I'm being right now, but I've already done this photo, so I don't really need to do the full edit again. So I'm just going to do a real quick one for you. Okay, and then I'm going to mask off so the flowers are covering her arm, because I don't want to bother with that. And the same thing over here. The flowers are going to cover her arm over here. I've masked off there. And if you're not sure where you are, you can click the layer on and off and kind of see, okay, there's flowers here below it. I want to do that. And then look, I've kind of masked off part of her arm here, which I don't want. So I'm going to turn back to white and mask it back on. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So once you're done with that, in a composite like this, it's important because look, she doesn't really look like she's sitting here. Because if she was sitting here, the light would create a shadow. Like there would be a shadow over here, there would be shadows in certain places. So I'm going to go back to the background. I'm going to create another layer, and we'll call this layer the dodge and burn layer. And I'm going to click the burn tool, and it's going to basically, I only have it on 10% exposure here, and I want it to burn just the I actually want it to burn the highlights, yeah, because this is pretty bright swing. And I'm just going to real lightly kind of put some shadowing in some of these places, right? So I won't be too much shadowing on this side because that's where the light's coming from, but I'm going to put a little extra on this side. And you can just kind of play with this until you get what feels right. And that doesn't really look all that great to me right now, but you get the idea. So anyway, that is how you would do the composite with the swing. So there's our after, and here are our here's our before of the baby, before of the swing, and then our before of the swing up here, before of the baby, and the after. And then I'd literally just go in and you know, work on the background some, but that gives you kind of the main piece, which is the baby, which is the hardest piece in this one. So I hope that helped. You got to learn not only composite, but also masking and a little bit of dodge and burn. So I hope that's helpful for everyone.